Oh, Alexander! Chomp! 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 On his debut!
Entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Zel boy army. It is your boy Zelonius, my beautiful, spicy friend back here, Mr. Ainsley Harriet, and we're going historical today. We've travelled all the way back to ancient Rome to visit the Colosseum. You can almost feel the atmosphere here. Bet you're wondering why. Well, it's a good thing you ask. Shapeshifter's Alexander Kolarov is finally here. The Roma esports account has practically been begging EA, please give us the Shapeshifter's card that Kolarov deserves. He's already got some great stats on the game, but we wanted a nice boost to some of his physicals to get a really good card. And EA came good, they delivered. So I'm here today to review this beautiful card. We're going to look at every aspect of the card, from his weak foot, his skills, to his pace. What's his long range shooting like, his passing, how good is he physically, the way we're going to test him. Bear in mind this is my first ever player review I've done on my YouTube channel. Please give me feedback, let me know what you think of it. But the way I'm planning to do it is, we've tested him in 3 Rivals games. So these 3 Rivals games, I wanted to test him at a high level. This is like 200-300 skill rating, so it's tested against other top players. I wanted to see how Kolarov performs against some of the very best in the world. So if he can play at the top level of Div 1 Rivals, there's no reason he couldn't play anywhere else. So you get to see 3 games of him against top players. And I've also done a game where I played against one of my viewers who let me just take lots of different shots with Kolarov, tested out his free kicks as well, because I wanted to also not just see what he's like as a defender, how he is on the ball, but I wanted to test his shooting out more, which you don't always get to do in the normal gameplay. So I'm going to show you the good, bad, the ugly, lots of different aspects of Alexander Kolarov. First thing we'll do is we'll look at the card. I'll talk about what my initial thoughts were when I saw the card, and then we'll get into some gameplay and let you see how he actually performed in game for me. Boys, I really appreciate you tuning into this video. If you like these type of videos, please literally like them. Comment on players you might like to see in future reviews. It's something new for my channel. I'm trying to give you guys lots of great spicy content, so I appreciate you being here. Enjoy the video. Okay, boys, here we are. The Serbian beast, potentially the ultimate Roman gladiator, is here. Mr. Alexander Kolarov. He's in the team. I tried him out with 2 chemistry styles. The first chemistry style that I used on him was a shadow. There's 3 chemistry styles I would look to use on him. That was my initial thought when I looked at the card. Shadow is one that I think is pretty good, because a clear weakness on the card is he's a little bit slow for a top end card if you want to use one. He's got some very big high stats, but his pace is just a bit low, so Shadow boosts that massively and also puts the defending up. Engine was one that I used a bit later on to test out, because his balance is quite low, still gives him a pace boost, puts his short pass vision really high and makes him a pretty good ball playing midfielder. And the other one, if you wanted to move him into an advanced position, but I generally wouldn't recommend that, would be a sniper. Plus 15 on his finishing to make his shooting a lot more well-rounded and also help him a lot on the ball. The main positions that I initially, when I look at this card, think he can play. He can maybe play fullback if you up the pace. He's got very good physical stats. He's brilliant on the ball in terms of how good his passing is. His dribbling's not that bad, especially if you put a bit of chem style boost on that. CDM, he's got the aggression, his passing's great, he's got an amazing long shot, his defending stats are high. I don't think you really want to push him too much further up the pitch from CDM because he's just not that quick. He's going to be a little bit clunky in the more attacking positions, and then the finishing isn't the highest. But the 3 Rivals games we test him in, he had a shadow card on and he plays at CDM, and then there's one game where I just played against a viewer where we just hit a load of shots with him. So the first few games you'll see of him will be literally playing in the position I'd recommend him in, which is a CDM. It's the way he comes, his card. If you pack him, we pack him, get him from the SBC. So if you're using it at CDM, Shadow or Engine would be my 2 recommendations. Initial thoughts of the card when I saw it: 6'2" is nice, good hitbox, is big and physical. Medium high is very solid work rates at a CDM. I tend to like my CDMs now on balanced attack, so they get forward quite a bit, but the medium high is nice because it means he also sits a little bit deeper but can still join in the attack with that. 3-star skill moves isn't too big of an issue for me really on a CDM. I don't think it matters too much, but the 3-star weak foot, especially for someone who's not incredible on the ball, is a bit of a shame. His base card, if you look at it, it's in the Hullet gang. It's got 387, it's got 90 passing, but he doesn't feel like a card that has 87 dribbling. I didn't really find in the game. And 3-star weak foot, you want him to be a little bit better, but 4-star weak foot would have really pushed this card into being a more elite CDM. His shooting, insane long shot, one of the best in the game. I don't think pace is as big a deal at CDM. It might be the least important position in the game other than obviously keeper for pace, because in the middle you mainly want a presence, someone good on the ball. You obviously don't want them to be too slow, you want them to be able to keep up the play, but he's not that slow anyway. 80 pace puts him above quite a lot of usable players. His passing obviously looks elite straight away when I saw that. You don't really get to take much advantage of his crossing stat. Crossing's pretty irrelevant on this game anyway. We test out quite a few free kicks for him, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see that. His dribbling stat, I thought he looked a little bit clunky, so you get to see how I used him in game, how he played like that. His defending stats are very well rounded. But one stat I liked the look of was his physical ones. 91 stamina is elite, with a 94 aggression, which anyone who knows my videos, who watches them a lot, I really rate aggression as a stat on this FIFA. Ainsley does too. It's probably the most important defensive stat in the game, I would say. So overall, my initial thoughts on this card when I did the SBC was, he looked like he had some cons, but he had some really nice stats, really good physicals, so I was excited to use him. He's going to be playing CDM in game next to Shapeshifters Marcel. You can see I like my Shapeshifters, got 4 of them in this team. So let's get into some gameplay clips. The gameplay, you have to remember, I streamed this live, so there's going to be an overlay, and I'm not going to use my live webcam now. You'll see my webcam from when I was streaming. I'll just do a voiceover to record over that. You can see my reactions, how I was acting on stream. Hope you enjoy the gameplay clips, boys. Let me know what you think. Okay, boys, this was Alexander Kolarov's debut for the team. You can see here a nice range of his passing. One of the things that I was really impressed with this card was just how good his passing was. You could see there was a pass on his weak foot that was a bit of a letdown, but in these clips you can really see just his range of passing, how solid he was on the ball. This one here was a bit of an awful shot on his weak foot. That there was just an example of what he was like shooting on his right. They're getting absolutely stuck into rude Hullet. That is what you want to see. This one here was just a goal that I scored. That nothing to do with Kolarov, but I wanted to show it. I thought it was quite nice. You can just see Kolarov pretty decent on the ball. Beautiful pass there. Am I using Shapeshifter Kolarov or Flashback Iniesta? You can just see some of his turns passing. His passing was really consistent. For some reason, sometimes he just seemed to make a bad pass out of nowhere. You can see here he loses the ball. He was a little bit clunky. He didn't feel very smooth with the skill moves. That there was just a bad pass by me. But you can just see a masterclass there. First time long pass with Kolarov. Pretty much every pass he did was just very consistent. His range of passing was good. One of the things that I really liked about him was the players who are really good at passing on this game, their passes just feel smoother, the animations are better. Here, I think here was his debut goal, as you saw in the opening clip. A lung-busting run from deep. Kolarov with the chomp celebration to finish. Very good finish for him. You'll see later from his shooting that when it's on target in a good position, it's very powerful. But because his finishing isn't that high, he just wasn't very consistent, and his finishing was something that let me down quite a bit. You can see in quite a few of these clips, he was very good at just shifting it quickly onto his left foot and playing some lovely passes. He didn't feel as clunky as I was expecting. The 90 dribbling, you can see there, like, he's turning really well. The 90 dribbling was really good. See there, another quick turn. The 67 agility and 70 balance, as you can imagine, means he's not some elite dribbler, but with the 90 dribbling, you can see in these clips he could quickly turn, play the passes. Okay, you're not going to be trying to dribble like Messi with it, but his dribbling was consistent enough that he wasn't too much of a liability in the midfield, which is the main thing you want from a CDM. There's an example of one of his shooting, like his long shots. He scored a few bangers when all I was trying to do was use shots with him, but it just wasn't very consistent there. Okay, I've got some clips here from Kolarov's second game. You can see here just getting himself out of trouble. He was a lot better at playing himself out of trouble than I expected. You can see just the range of passing he has. Like, I've not used many midfielders in the game better. Just every pass he had, for the most part, felt smooth. There's some really close dribbling. He's not like you're using an elite dribbler on the ball, but he's good enough that you can rely on him to get you out of trouble. That there, the long shot there, was an indicator of the shooting that was to come. It was really disappointing. We've got a lot of clips coming up with his actual shooting, which I'll show you, which will maybe explain it a bit better. Well, in terms of one of the main things you look for in a midfielder, decent on the ball, good passing range, Kolarov really had this. Unfortunately, there's a lot of defending on this game. You're not actually making tackles or interceptions, you're just keeping people away from the ball. One of the things I did like with Kolarov was being 6'2", pretty good pace and high aggression meant he just felt a really good physical presence. One of the way I really like to defend on this game that I teach people when defending how to do is to hold the CDM and cover the ground. And Kolarov was really good for doing that because he was just a really good physical presence. You can see there just on the edge of the box, really solid. I like this. I think this is a goal we score here, is it? No, it was another Kolarov long shot. Okay. This one was a dead goal we scored here. Really nice play with Mbappe. But yeah, Kolarov just very reliable. In the first two games we played, he made something like 92-93% of his passes, and I was playing around him a lot. That was another really nice goal we got there with R9. Kolarov, it just felt like, with my CDMs, I really like to be able to recycle the possession and ping the ball about, and Kolarov felt absolutely brilliant for that. You can see in these clips such a range of passing that he really showed throughout. Okay, here, we went into a friendly match against a viewer so we could test Kolarov's shooting out. I'll let you see a few examples of his shooting before I really start talking about it, but you can see he hits the shots with a lot of venom. The guy literally has 99 shot power, but sadly I wanted to test it from the edge of the box because he has, I think it's 96 long shots and the 99 shot power, so I was thinking he was going to be able to hit some incredible long shots, but I was wrong. On this game, unfortunately, that was his first goal. It took 20 minutes of trying. On this game, it just feels like the long shot stat is near irrelevant. You can't score barely from the edge of the box. You can see he hit some good shots. The keeper he was against was Lloris. Lloris pretty much saved anything outside the box. Didn't matter if he was under no pressure, if he was in a great position. He could just barely score from outside the box, which was a real shame. I really was hoping for some great stuff. That was probably one of his best finishes, that goal there. You can see him doing the chomp in celebration. Really enjoyed that goal. When I finished like from 12 yards, maybe 15 yards and closer, he was fairly consistent. But the problem is, he's not that fast, and his dribbling's good, but it's not insane. He's not going to get that many chances from CDM to hit those type of shots. That one was an absolute shocking miss there. I didn't really get what happened there. The key shooting stat this year is definitely finishing. It makes the biggest difference, and I think it affects shooting all the way up to about 22 yards out, and that's when long shots takes over. But when you get there, the long shooting stat, you can't score from there anyway against a good keeper. You can see all the clips where he shoots from close distance. For the most part, he's pretty consistent. But his shooting was one of the biggest disappointments on this card. That was another great finish he hit. He could hit some great shots. There was another 2 in a row there. But you have to think how many shots he hit. He just wasn't scoring them enough consistently. Free kicks was something I was looking forward to trying out. You can see there. The free kick flew in. I hit about 7 or 8 free kicks, and maybe 5 or 6 of them went in. That free kicks was one thing that I really loved about this card. You can see here the technique. You aim slightly above the bar, then you just put the right stick up, and it was very consistent. This one misses because it was a little bit too in the corner, but that's probably one of the worst free kicks he took. This free kick was probably my favourite one. Goes right into the top corner. Absolutely loved that one. Ultimately, boys, if we look at Kolarov's card and look at the base stats of it, the pace, if we go through each of the 6 sections, his pace, it felt quite solid at CDM. With a shadow on, he never really felt too slow. Maybe breaking away on counter-attacks on the ball, he didn't feel the best for that. But for the most part, that's not really what you want your CDM to do. When it came to covering, tracking runs, being on the ball, his pace felt pretty solid and wasn't too much of a letdown. Obviously, I'd like higher, but I didn't really notice too much of an issue with pace. And this was playing at high-level div rivals against people who have god squads and some very good players, so that was quite good to see, to be honest. His shooting, this was a real letdown. I really was disappointed on this aspect of the card. You saw in the clips, he scored quite a lot of nice shots, but the percentage of those that were going in, and this was against someone who was literally letting me test Kolarov's shooting out, they just weren't high enough. Ultimately on this game, you want consistency. From outside the box, his long shots and shot power just felt irrelevant, which is really disappointing to see. A card that's got this insane long shooting, it just didn't matter. Inside the box, he was pretty consistent, but this was when I was literally being set up for easy chances. When you don't necessarily get that in an actual game, I'm not sure I'd trust his shooting, which was a shame because I really wanted to see something like that from the card. The passing, you saw lots of great clips from him. One of the main things I want from my CDM is a CDM who can pick passes out of anywhere. He could pass on both feet. There were some great passes he played on his weak foot, which for a 3-star weak foot surprised me. The passing was really smooth. He was one of the better midfielders I'd used this year. There was a few stray passes, but I feel like any midfielder on this game does that. His pass completion was very high. He was very capable of being able to ping it about in any position, so that was potentially the favourite part of this card. On the passing stat, I really liked him. Dribbling, you're never really going to try to turn him into Alexander Messi. Like, his dribbling was good enough for what I needed from a CDM. He wasn't going to turn really tight spaces and be insane on the ball. But for someone with that good passing and a good physical presence, his dribbling did the job. There was a few clips you saw when he managed to play his way out of trouble. Occasionally, and it was somewhat my fault, maybe I made a few mistakes where I tried to overdo it with his dribbling, or he didn't turn as quick as I wanted and he made a bad pass. So his dribbling's not like it's a 10 out of 10. You maybe have to, it's maybe like a 7 to 8 out of 10. You maybe have to be a bit more careful with him. If we look at the other stats like his pace, it's probably a 7 out of 10. Shooting, it's probably a 5 out of 10, which is a real disappointment because I really expected better from the card. His passing would be a 9 out of 10. If we take his free kicks as a separate thing, they were a 10 out of 10. They were insane. That technique with Kolarov is deadly. If you need a free kick taker for your team, Kolarov is going to put them in very consistently if you can get that technique down. It's not even hard to do. Edge of the box, just above the bar in the corner, 2 bars of power, right stick up. He scored like 3/4 of the free kicks. He even went into rivals and scored a goal for me from there. If they move the keeper, you just put it in the other corner. Kolarov will be really consistent with them because he has 99 free kick accuracy. His defending, a lot of the time for me, the CDM's defending stats aren't as important as you'd expect because I'm normally controlling my CDM. I encourage you to defend with your CDM for the most part. If you don't have to, patrol the middle of the area because that's where the danger is. His standing tackle, I did notice, was very consistent. I really liked that. He got stuck in and made some really good tackles for me. His defending, I'd probably give like an 8 out of 10. His physical stats though, so we're looking at his stamina, his strength, aggression, I'd give a 9 out of 10. He was an absolute beast in this area. when he got into a 50-50, Kolarov seemed to win nearly every single one. I was really happy with this side of the card. His aggression you really did notice. He felt like a gladiator in the middle of the pitch, which was nice to see. One of the things you need to look for when you're looking at SBC is like how good value they are, should you be doing them. So my opinion on Kolarov, should you be doing him? If you have a Serie A team, or you're a Roma fan, or you just loved Kolarov from back when he played in the Premier League at Man City, I think this card is good enough value to do. For a Serie A team, he might be one of the top CDMs there. I think there's Dominguez in that league, but maybe Nainggolan's headline's pretty good. But this Kolarov is quite a unique card, to be honest. There wasn't too many other cards in the game that I could think quite like this. I think he comes in at around 200k, which for what he offers isn't that bad a price. If you're going to struggle to fit him into your team, and you don't play a Serie A team, being Serbian, he's not going to link really to any top players on the game. I wouldn't recommend him if you don't run a Serie A team. Flashback Rooney, who's available right now, is a similar price, and for me, I don't like to say it, but the Rooney card is quite a bit better, I'd probably say, in terms of what he can offer right now. I did enjoy Kolarov's card, and it was nice to see a Roma player get a really beastly card, but for me, the SBC, including the price it comes in at, it's maybe 7, 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed the card. He was good enough to get by in rivals and do some good stuff, but not the quickest. Good on the ball, but not insane. His shooting just wasn't consistent enough for me. But his defending physical side, which is one of the main things you want from CDM, was really good. So if you like the look of him and you can fit in your team, I'd definitely recommend him. Boys, me and Ainsley, hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of this player review. It's my first one I've done. I've put a lot of effort into it. Any feedback for how I can improve them in the future is much welcome. Have a good evening.